Friends, welcome to Holy Trinity Catholic Church, where we believe, belong, and become. Tell me what's your flavor? Tell me what's your flavor? This is one of the commercials about ice cream that I heard in a famous Texas grocery store called HEB. On this Sunday, the question for us is, do we carry the flavor of being a Christian? Do we have the flavor of being a disciple of Jesus? Salting, lighting, savoring. We continued the discourse, the lessons on discipleship from last week, discipleship from 4 to last Sunday. We have seen the Beatitudes, the learner being the lessons being learned and becoming the leader. Now we gain that flavor of being a Christian, being the disciple of Jesus, being embedded on the foundation of the Beatitudes. In the first reading, we see how sharing bread with the hungry, sheltering the oppressed, homeless, caring for the naked, clothing the naked is given to us not as an option, once in a while thing, but to do them constantly, corporal works of mercy. In the first reading, we see the Israelites are returning from Babylonian exile and they're hoping to restore their towns and cities and their capital. However, the things were moving slowly and they could not accept that slowness. It was frustratingly slow. People wanted it to be quick and they wondered why it was not moving fast. Prophet Isaiah says, their unwillingness to share their blessings of God with others could slow down their restoration. Our identity, our vocation as Christians is so much to do with the community around us. Discipleship from, discipleship for, and discipleship to. That's how we be a learner, grasp the lessons of the Beatitudes, and become the leaders. In the second reading, we see how Paul acknowledges his own human closeness, his own human accomplishments and affirmations, his knowledge of philosophy, rhetoric. But he says what helped him to be a missionary, to preach the gospel, was what he learned from the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Though he was rich, he gave away. He did not cling on to divine prerogatives. Paul communicated the quality of self-sacrifice to the intellectuals of Corinth. Paul's own experience teaches us that self-sacrifice will put us on right terms with God. Start doing good. That's how we be the salt of the earth. We become light of the world. That is how we learn a second language, the language of love. As we care for the poor, sheltering the homeless, clothing the naked, caring for the oppressed, we learn the language of love. We become leaders based on the Beatitudes. And in this process, we learn Christ. We learn the quality of Christ. We learn the self-sacrifice of Christ. We become Christ to others. This is what Paul's own experience was when he was in Corinth. He could not but say it out that none of his accomplishments gave him any satisfaction or identity except what he learned from Christ. To learn Christ, self-sacrifice. In today's gospel, what we learned yesterday, the Beatitudes become practical. How? By being salt of the earth, being light of the world. Salt has many properties, as we know. It's life, it's preservative in character, it seasons, it purifies, it's medicinal, it fertilizes. In the Old Testament, salt was used for sealing the covenants, the bonds. It is symbol of wisdom, not only for taste, but also other properties. Salt loses its identity. That's the key. It smears, it permeates itself into everything that it is added on to. That is how we need to lose ourselves into Christ and we become Christ like to others. Its value resides in its action on the other substance. As disciples, our worth is gauged according to the influence we have on others, not because we have a PhD, not because we are rich or invincible, but because we are founded, we are growing into Christ, we are growing into the quality of Christ. That's how we be the salt and the light of the world. City built on a hilltop cannot be hidden. As we recognize light in our own house, how is the light in our hearts? Is there any darkness that needs to be eliminated? We inspire others not by our words, not only by our words, but by declaring the reign of God through our life. And that happens only when we carry the light of Christ in ourselves. Saints are the people who radiated God through their lives. Saints are like stained glass windows. Saints represent a stained glass window. When the sun's rays hit, they glow. They become splendid, glorious. If we authentically live our lives, we can set the world on fire, says St. Catherine of Siena. If you and I, as Catholics, Christians, learning the Beatitudes, learning the lessons, learning to be the leader, if we truly embrace the quality of Christ, growing in Christ, you and I can set the world on fire as the salt of the earth and the light of the world. Father Praveen Lakisetti here at Holy Trinity Catholic Church in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you and God bless.